Hey everybody, welcome to this segment of Black Spring. And today I thought maybe I'd do something a little bit different. I thought about maybe because of the weekend or the week that Joe Biden has had in terms of support during the primaries, I thought maybe we might look at a little bit of a geopolitical tag from Joe Biden. And I'd like to bring you that clip in just a second. But hope everybody's doing well on this Friday. And I'll be happy to bring you that clip. And if you are here, thank you for being here with Black Spring with Autumn. And as always, everybody is welcome here. If you could please hit the just a few of the house engagements. If you could hit the subscribe bell if you haven't done so already, so you can continue to get the updates or any type of notifications related to Black Spring. Also, I hope to be bringing you some other special items or special segments in the very near future. Also, I will have a particular link or also another something that may be of interest to you later in this particular segment. So if you stop by and say hi, that's always more than welcome. I'm happy to engage with anybody that's here or that just has time to listen during their day. I really appreciate it. So without further delay, I would like to take you to something very unique. It's actually a clip that I found. It's actually in reference to, it might be interesting for everybody to just have, we'll just go ahead and start with, I'll go ahead and play the clip for you, and then you can tell me what you actually think of it if you are here, if you are able to engage in that. So with that said, give me just one more second here. Sorry, I apologize for the technical delay, but I think this one is definitely worth taking a second look at if you haven't, if you've never heard this particular clip. Let's see here. Almost there. Hope everybody's doing well today. I know it is Friday, and this political cycle couldn't get more. It's pretty, at times it seems to be pretty volatile in terms of in terms of the Democrats and their process of candidates and their super delegates, if you will. So let's see if we have it here for you. Okay. So if you will go with me, I'll be happy to play this clip for you. And then if you are here, I'll be happy to engage and beyond. Thank you for tuning in.
Two wars affords us an opportunity. It allows us to refocus our intelligence and military assets and resources to other parts of the world where they are needed, where we face new challenges. This is the world you are graduating into. This is what I want to talk about today with you for a few minutes. I believe we, and particularly you, your class, has an incredible window of opportunity to lead in shaping a new world order for the 21st century in a way consistent with American interest and the common interest. Think of the possibilities. For the first time in history, the Western Hemisphere is in a position where it has the possibility of being middle class, democratic, and secure from Canada to Chile. The Pacific Basin, peaceful and prosperous. A new relationship with China where we cooperate and compete, but where conflict is not inevitable. A revitalized global trading order defined by greater integration and economic growth, where barriers are lowered at the borders and behind our borders, generating millions of American jobs, where intellectual property is protected and the playing field is level.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you are just now joining me here for this segment of Black Spring with Autumn, there you just had, it was a 2014 cadet speech in which Joe Biden was addressing these graduates. And I mean, I thought this was pretty apropos to an election season, whether, I mean, I will place this particular link in the description box later today, but I thought it'd be interesting I mean, if you just listen to his platform, whether you're Democrat, whether you're, Republican, Independent, whatever your preference is or what you identify as. I mean, much of what he's saying are things that we've already heard, but most people subscribe more that New World Order is more of a conspiracy theory rather than, but they've still denied this whole concept, this whole restructure, this whole paradigm, even though prominent leaders in the world have used it, prominent heads of state. I mean, you've had not only in this particular example of Joe Biden mentioning New World Order, you've had Tony Blair mentioning New World Order. Of course, you've had even previous administrations, even prior to, of course, Joe Biden. You've had, the Nixon administration. Of course, his commingling with, or his partnership with even a Henry Kissinger. You've heard these things before, but to the point, he's basically talking about, we call it open borders, lowering a border, at the border. He says, lowered at the borders and behind our borders. So, I mean, I'm curious to know what you guys might think, what your thoughts are on this particular cadet speech. And to me, how different is it than his actual platform, or his, they don't actually have I mean, I guess maybe he would call this a plan or a Pax, a Pax America plan. But, this is not the America, that most people, that the patriots love. That's not what, we're not interested in refocusing military, access and resources, or subsidizing the world on the backs of American taxpayers. I mean, I would think, that all of these things that he's mentioning would give most Americans a pause, So, he talks about, democratic and security from Canada to Chile. Well, how would that happen if it's not a centralized government that he is, actually projecting? So I'm actually quite curious to know what you guys actually think about what he's actually saying. I mean, is anybody else here with me? Hi, Celia. Nice to see you. How are you doing today? Shout out to anybody that drops in and can say hi. There's a lot of great patriots and a lot of great YouTubers that drop in on Black Spring. And of course, anytime you're here, I'm always happy to shout you out. And I'm interested in what your thoughts are on this particular speech. I mean, Biden wasn't the first person to talk about, America's opportunity for a New World Order. He's not. I mean, I think, in fact, President Obama mentioned it. I think, Bush, the 41st president, also mentioned this particular order. So it's not like I said, here again, the conspiracy. Oops, sorry about that, guys. The conspiracy, it kind of, that's waned, and just about, I don't know a conspiracy that hasn't really come true. I think maybe it's been deferred, but do I actually think that this was all, conspiracy? I refuse to believe that. Hi, Killer Will. Everybody, if you're not aware of Killer Whale, he is an amazing YouTuber. He's got great spirit and great knowledge on YouTube, and he's just all around a solid guy, and I really appreciate you for being here, Killer Whale. Oh, Celia, as I see, it says it's tropical Montana, 58 degrees. Nice. Kind of balmy for you, right? But yeah, so I was just like, I decided to, jump in and do a little bit of just do something a little bit of a live stream today, because to me, this is a political cycle, and it looks like right now Biden is the front runner. And I'm not saying that, Bernie doesn't have an opportunity to, to get back in, because we still have roughly 8 months, I guess. We have about 8 months until, the time it's gonna be time to wrap it up. But I just thought it was interesting that this particular video, basically kind of it underscores the idea of open borders and basically ending American sovereignty. And then to me, it's kind of a loose term. It's kind of an invisible. It's kind of a, I talked about shadow banks and shadow police and shadow, agencies and shadow governance. Well, it's like it's a shadow empire is what I'm looking at. Hi, Chrysler Imperial H. Chrysler Imperial H is here, everybody. So, if you're here, it's nice to get acquainted with people, even if you don't know them, or, I'm happy to make that happen, and happy to make networks, networks work. So yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys just. Okay, I hear you, Celia, as I want to be normally less than 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh wow. All right, well, nice. I mean, I live on the West Coast, so I mean, we're a little bit up and down, but not that. I don't think it's dramatic or anything. It's not significant. It's not really outrageous or anything. We haven't had much of a winter, but here and there. But yeah, so I just thought that was pretty interesting, but it takes I don't want to say it takes a village. It takes a lot of arms to reach, to get this nation to even be tolerant of these kinds of ideas, and these types of it's not even ideology, it's this type of government, or to change. He's obviously trying to sell something to these cadets. Yeah, so it's basically like issuing a challenge, and that's powerful coming from a head of state, no matter who it is. Killer Whale. Great mod you get here. You know what? I'm gonna work on mods. I'm gonna do more live streams. It's nice to engage with people. I mean, it's nice to get a little bit of a balance, or just to hear like nice conversations, nice exchanges. And I see bears starting to come out of hibernation. Wow. Be safe. Yeah. So it's just. That's the issue. It's like Joe Biden to me is very much establishment. And, right now, I mean, I did a video earlier today, which, they're basically, they're getting ready they're going to get behind a candidate, believe it or not. But it's going to be done. It's going to be done to fit their whole agenda. And to me, I don't think selling America out, to me, should give everybody pause. I mean, because a lot of times many people, this whole postmodern idea, people that actually hate the flag, and, that just have so much, contempt for a nation that allows so much freedom. They have no idea, what socialism is, or what it's like to live in other places. And it's the same thing, it's just many people, I think, seem to think that, things that have happened in the past, that things that have happened in democracies, in pure democracies, I don't think that they understand or believe that they can actually happen here. Let's see, I'm reading your comment here. Silly as it says, silly as I want to be says, Biden is lesser of two evils. I agree. I certainly agree. I don't know. I don't know if anybody tuned into the Trump town hall yesterday, but it seems it was a very, it was a very personable style in which Fox News brought that to the public. And I'm actually, Fox News to me gets a little bit. I think that they have a bit of establishment there. The fact that they actually brought Donna Brazile on after her whole DNC, her whole DNC, disgrace back in 2016, and then she's on. I mean, I posted that particular video earlier about her reaction to the RNC's. She's basically, like, no one can call them out without them being, emotional. Like, they just totally they are totally, they really epitomize, the type of people they attract. It's mostly emotion most of the time. Hi, Dave Durango. Everybody here, Dave Durango's here. So if you're not familiar with him, I said lots of great YouTubers here. I don't know whether you're tin hat wearer or not, you just are American or you're on the fence or whatever. It's just nice to have everybody here. And please, if you could either hit the subscription bell or hit the like button, drop a comment in. Really helps. I mean, because, conservative voices are actually being suppressed. I mean, I noticed that there's some videos that I have that have zero. If you mention any of the main arms or even the armpits of some of these liberals or progressives in your actual YouTube videos, they totally suppress the likes, the subscriptions. I mean, it's just. Okay, see, I'm catching up here. Bernie has some of the same policies as 1917 through 1924 Lenin Doctrine. Hey, I can believe that. Yeah, it's really not. Yeah, he's really not that different. It's really not. He's just, saying it in a different way, But here's the other ticker that I have, for this particular stream. I was going to save it for another one, but why not do it now? But, even what I was trying to get to, even with this whole coronavirus thing, it's like the media, it's like they want to project, that we're living, even when they address the president, that the American people are actually living under some type of totalitarian state. They want to try to project that whole Hitler, they want to project the whole Hitler profile onto Donald Trump, whether it means closing a border or, or limiting, entries and exits or, just whatever it is. I'm surprised they're not saying that the president is asking for, that the president hasn't deployed fumigations for illegal immigrants or had ICE to set up fumigations or something. There's a very interesting book. It's kind of a pricey book, but I think it's Table Talk that Hitler wrote, and it talks about Hitler's. He was pretty obsessed, and he took multiple baths a day. Like, that's just one of the takeaways from that. But I'm just saying that to me, this is exactly. This is projection. This is the tactics that they are using. They're trying to also say that Trump has misstepped on appointing Mike Pence, and the Obama administration had better policies for dealing with Ebola and other things, and just and there again, the Trump town hall yesterday was really great, and President Trump has an amazing way of. I think he's pretty much on to who the neocons are, and even in the media. Like, he basically, we had a guy, I think his name was Dave or something. He was Dave out of the Midwest, I think this was in PA, this Scranton, PA, is where that town hall meeting was. And Trump basically, they had the guy to stand up and say, what did he think about Trump, because he was a part of he had an EPA question. And he was saying, basically, he was basically saying that he supports Trump, but he wanted to know what was Trump going to do in terms of, regulation and deregulation. And he was looking forward to seeing that through with this administration. He was actually a Democrat, this guy was. And, he had nothing but positive things to say about President Trump, even though he had been previously voting Democrat. I think, that's another spectrum. People can vote Democratic, but then they're not really, beholden to that party. It's not like a full, they're not loyalist, Democrats. And then Trump turns right around after this guy shows approval and says, hey, that wasn't the response. He tells, Martha McCallum, oh, that wasn't the response that you were looking for. And that's what I'm saying. I think Trump is so far ahead of these people, media, establishment, whomever it is. They are really just not, I think they just really underestimate him all the time. And he just totally, he controlled them, so quickly that I think that they're stunned when he does it. And I think he's going to do more of it because, it's just they're just so predictable. They come straight ahead at him right now because their tactics are predictable at this point. So here again, thanks for everybody for being in the chat today. And also, this is a fairly new device that I'm trying out. So if it sounds, whether it sounds thin or whatever it sounds like, I'm open to hear those comments as well. But once again, thanks everybody for being here. And like I said, I will be providing an actual link for this video. And there's actually one other video, but there's more than one instance of, Joe Biden telling, America what his plans are. No matter what speech he sneaks it into or whatever he does, it's always there. I agree, Silly As. You said President Trump is a master troller. Yes, he is. Yes, I think he's totally built for this. But then this is just another, because we're on here and we're talking a little bit about Biden, but of course during the this whole South Carolina primary, it's just like, they need to show black faces coming out. And the thing about the Southeast, it's still very much emotionally segregated. It's very much. And I don't know if anybody's listening, but, I would think, I applied all the efforts. It's not my goal here to be on the color trail of any sort. But I'm just saying, in the black community, there are a lot of people that don't know anything about President Trump. They're genuinely making decisions based on it's pure emotion. I've seen it from age 70 down to these liberal colleges. I've seen it everywhere. I've seen it on the HBCU campuses. In fact, I'll do another segment on that another time. But they're looking to. The media, of course, originally made Trump out to be, tried to project Trump as some type of, he's a white lash because the first black president, So, and it's a soft spot to African Americans or blacks, or Americans, black Americans who happen to be Americans, or happen to be black Americans who happen to be black. They think that somehow Obama and Joe Biden being tethered to Obama is somehow going to preserve Obama's legacy, or he's going to build on Obamacare. And I'm just thinking, and I actually heard that from, I have plenty of roots, deep South roots. And I actually heard that, and I'm just thinking, wow, you really think this is about Obamacare? Do you really think what's going on, what's actually happening? Everything that's going on is a white lash against Obama and Obamacare. You cannot be serious. It's staggering to hear those kinds of comments. That, I mean, I heard them in real time from real people that I know. And yeah, so they think, oh, somehow, Biden is some type of consolation prize, I guess a consolation candidate for Obama, and postulizing, I don't, you as a whether you consider yourself American or not, but you have to know when to engage, you know. It's kind of like, being a warrior or a ninja. You have to know your target, and know when to engage, or know where you are. So I don't engage people randomly on political things. I don't typically do. That's not something that I typically do, because sometimes it's so dense, that, and people they're not actually thinking. They're not actually thinking. They're being told, or they're just waiting for somebody else to deliver the news. Let me just tag in here. It says Biden owes Warren a huge thank you for staying in past Tuesday. See, there you go. There you go. You're right. And then you said here, it's making Dems cry still. Absolutely. So yeah, the whole thing with the Southeast. The Southeast is still very much populated with, it's pretty vastly, still pretty populated with blacks. And I think, I'm going to try to get back onto my other little, I just think that with all the, the president has a lot of, if I can say, boots on the ground, or people on the ground that are engaging in the black community. But those particular areas, if anybody's listening, or if anybody has a direct line or any kind of communication with the president, I would say, he needs to put some boots on the ground in those particular areas. I mean, the Selma, for crying out loud, the Selma, the Bloody Sunday March, there was a march there. I think there was another march there this past weekend. And yeah, and then I think Pete Buttigieg was actually at that march, but they actually need they need some centers there to wake some of these people up. Their oppressors are singing them the lullabies. It's like a Stockholm syndrome. It's like I don't know if you realize it, but you're actually empathizing with your attacker, with your actual assailant. You are. Okay, I'm going to read some comments here. It says, Celia S. says, I love that a black man was voted president. I'm not happy with what he did. Close the racial divide. Right on. Well, yeah, right, I'm just thinking, to me, I'm not even sure if to me, like, and I'm not one to make de facto black, identities or anything. I'm not but I'm saying, like, to me, like, the word black, to me, is very kind of specific to me, to like an American kind of origin, like you were, at least one parent was born here in the States, because that, anybody that's born in Africa, or even Jamaica, or any of these other territories, or provinces, or what, they don't have an American experience, so it doesn't really. I'm not sure if I call Barack Obama a black. Am I talking about melanated skin? Yeah, he has that. You can check that box. But some people, that's all it takes. They need to check. If they can check that box, the liberals, if they can check that box, then that's all they need to divide people. That's all they need. But yeah, so yeah, I just think that, that the Deep South is still very much, they are looking for some type of, they need some type of relief or whatever, based on, the propaganda, and the Jim Clyburns, who's actually, I'm paraphrasing, basically says that, America is better off, black America was better off during slavery. Like, we had equal employment, more equal employment during slavery, which was actually absolutely just, it was despicable. I'm just, yeah, but he's very much, you got a lot of people that are in the tank, that were in the tank and have been in the tank for Clinton, for Hillary Clinton, and he's one of them. So I think, some of these people have been around long enough, they know where the bodies are. And I think he's no different. So yeah, of course he would rally around Joe Biden, during the South Carolina primaries. So I think that's kind of where I was going. But yeah, but they totally target those areas. And there's just not a lot of real education. And see, it's pretty incredible because we're still in the very beginning of March, and the liberal created Black History Month does not cover American history. It's more so that they keep the division going all year long. Like, what does anybody actually learn about a Black history, which is it's American history? But the civics aren't being taught. Real American history isn't being taught. They don't really teach party affiliation. So, they're leaving out a lot of important, there's a lot of, they don't even have a good big picture, of politics or, the development of the nation. They just don't. It's more emotion. It's just slavery, 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 civil rights, slavery, civil rights, Jim Crow. That's pretty much. I mean, even when I was in school, I remember, that you had that one holiday. You had this one holiday. It's our Independence Day, and everybody is doing all this celebrating and this and that, and then all of a sudden one day, you get past that section of Independence Day in the actual textbook, and then you go on to, Reconstruction, and, it's just, and then eventually you get down to to civil rights and, Jim Crows and all these things. You got these things just, it's like you got that wonderful ray of hope, and then they kill it right away. And they don't talk about who's who. They just give you these blanket names of presidents. If you look at an Alabama history book, they don't talk about who's who in the Democrat Party. They don't do that. They don't tell that. They don't say who's Republican or who's Democrat. They don't teach that. So let me just, okay, silly as, I have it right here. Having a minority represented at the highest level was what I loved for Native American to be president. Well, I can see that. I mean, it's nice, but to me, the President Obama, the former President Obama, that's another thing that kind of gets under my nail bed. It's like when they talk about Obama, that you rarely ever hear them say former President Obama. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Obama has been out of office going on 4 years. So when does he become former? I don't know the parameters. I don't make the rules. But shouldn't he be, it's a respectful thing. They're acting like, that Obama was the last president that America was going to have. And maybe that was the plan. Of course, we got to pretend like Trump is not even in office. So we just got to keep referring to Obama as President Obama rather than former President Obama. I mean, when you talk about Bill Clinton, you say former President Bill Clinton. You don't say President Clinton. Like I said, I don't make the rules on these kinds of things. But not only, it's a denial. And I think that the way that liberals have kind of dominated, history books and teaching, and the way they've ruined the education system, and they've got these indoctrination camps, that you're going to have to be careful as to how are these presidents going to be described 20, 30 years from now? Will they write President Obama in a history book when President Donald Trump was obviously the president? I mean, if they can show cages from 2014 during President Obama's presidency, then surely, they're able to reprint, to put, to hide or ignore history in history books. So I'm just thinking, these are just things, things that I just, I notice regularly. I've seen it on Fox News. I've seen it on, I just don't know what the pleasantry is, or what the, when the company of the preceding administration leaves, it should automatically be known to the media, and I would imagine even to any journalist, that you need to give the current president the respect of calling him president. We don't have two active presidents. But like I said, it's going to be interesting to see what history says about that comment. I mean, I'm just curious as to how it's going to be written, because I've heard everything from President Trump's going to be the last president. I've heard all kinds of things, but I'm still curious as to why the media can't quite get it right. Every now and then I'll hear somebody say former President Obama. But even when he's just doing a book tour, he's still, being coined as President Obama. Even Hillary Clinton, when she actually goes to events, they don't always talk about her being a former head of state. They address her as Hillary Clinton. I just wondering if anybody picked that up. But I don't know if I'm still streaming or not. But I really appreciate everybody for being here for this stream. And as always, I'd like to hear your comments, your concerns. You can hit the subscribe bell or even hit the like button. That's always helpful. And I will see you again for another segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And everybody have a great weekend.